Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze 4-pack. This is obviously from the live-action movie, and we're going to do the question of the day right away. How do you feel about the second live-action movie? I know it's a relatively significant departure from the first movie, much more comedic, much more childish, but I still like it a lot. And we did get Toka and Razor from that movie, and they were awesome, and Super Shredder was awesome. I know it wasn't as good as the first, wasn't as dark, wasn't as serious, but I still personally like it. I think it's just fine, so you guys can let me know how you feel about that. So these figures are very similar to the ones we got before, but they are different, so we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're just going to go through the whole set. We're going to do all four at once because there's not a whole lot of differences between the individual turtles. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Before we dive into the turtles, I just want to show you the packaging since it's too big to fit. Normally, it is a large, tall, it's VHS shaped, it's huge, relatively speaking, but it does have some nice photos and things, and it has the artwork on the top of the figures being posed. So yeah, it's a very nice thing, and this is just a sleeve that goes over the windowed box. So that's as usual, it's a good packaging from NECA. They always do the little extra. Alright, so we're going to just use Leo for the height measurement. They're all generally the same height, so that shouldn't be much of a surprise to anybody. He is just about 6 and let's say 5/8 inches tall. That's going to put him at roughly, we'll say shy of 7 centimeters. And here he is up against Darwin. So if you wanted to, like, the turtles are definitely a little bit too big to be in scale with 1/12 scale because they're not meant to be, but you could, they're close enough that you could probably do it, so that's alright by me. Now, the turtles are not all the same. We'll get to that in a second. First, I have to mention, I cannot find my first movie release of the turtles anywhere. I know I have a couple different sets of them. I can't find them, so I'll have to just link you up there if you want to compare specifics. The heads are the major difference. I'm not sure about articulation because I don't remember, but you can check out the review up there. I'm sorry, I can't find them. I don't know where they are. Okay, so the turtles. Like before, there are two different sets of biceps on the turtles. We're going to dive into the aesthetic. We have the one that actually looks like regular anatomy, and then we have the one that has this weird shape on it. So Leo has the regular anatomy, and so does Michelangelo. And then Donnie and Raph both have the weird anatomy, just like before. These guys share the same biceps. These guys share the same biceps. That's how it was in the movie. So that's fine. That's a good thing. Obviously, they all have their own heads. We'll look at those in a second. As far as shells go, Raph has his own shell. It has all the little scratches and nicks on it, so that's pretty cool. I do think Donnie and Mike share a shell. I think they have the same sculpt. Yeah, that's the exact same shell on those two. And then Leo has one that's entirely different with a different pattern all together. So that's about it as far as the key differences in the bodies. The front shell is basically all the same. Obviously the belts are different, but the front shell is the same across all of them. So let's go ahead and look at the faces really quickly. I'm not a huge fan that two of them have only open mouth faces or heads in the box here. There is an accessory pack, I'll be reviewing that, but this isn't ideal, I don't think, but I guess it is what it is. They are still really, really well done. I think the screen accuracy is nice. I think Mikey's is especially good. I really like the way that looks. You can see the eyes are glossy, the teeth, everything's painted really, really, really well. The bandanas are a separate piece so that they're painted well, but you don't have to worry about any overpaint, so that's cool. And there's Donnie, obviously, with his little smirk, looks good. And then Raph with his angry face. Yeah, these likenesses are wonderful. NECA never disappoints with this turtle line, but these guys are wonderful, wonderful releases. We'll look at the belts really quick. Raph has the belt here for his two sides, the two openings right there, and it just wraps around the back. The belts are glued on, unfortunately, so that's a bit annoying to me. They're not glued everywhere, but they are glued. So, like, his sticks out, it's loose right here, and it's loose up here, so you're gonna have to try to pull this down, and I guess that's fine, but because this is glued in place, pulling this down doesn't really work. So that's a little bit annoying, but he does have the belt with the 3-point harness and then the little bits of ribbon back here to hold his bow, so that's good. Michelangelo has a belt with the pouches on the side, and then it just wraps around the back, so that's pretty much okay. Mine has a weird green blemish on his shell. I don't care for that. Unless that's supposed to be there for some reason, I kind of doubt it, but it's like that. And then Leonardo has another sort of 3-point harness, but obviously his has the scabbards on the back. They're a little glossy, don't look great, honestly, and the angle's a little bit weird, but they are going to be acceptable once you put the swords in there. It's okay. Then one other thing to note that's unique about the Turtles is Donatello does have, if you look at his wrist, it looks a little thicker than normal. That's because you have his watch underneath. It's not the most detailed thing in the world, but you do have his watch, which is hidden by a strap right there. So very good on NECA for including that. So yeah, these guys are really, really well done. There's shading, there's washing, there's detail painting, there's all kinds of stuff going on everywhere. They look wonderful. Are they absolutely perfect? I know people are going to be like, well, it has this problem. Yeah, like the sheaths being glossy. It's not great. They're not perfect. Nothing ever will be with a budget. But when you're talking about figures at this scale, just like the first movie, these are wonderful. They are wonderfully detailed. They look like they came right off the screen. So I am just thrilled. Aesthetically speaking, I'm going to give these a 9.9 out of 10. There are some things that could be better, but they are so good. It far overshadows any of the problems. So let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. We do have quite a few. Every turtle in the box comes with gripping hands. They do have the horizontal hinge rather than the vertical hinge, so sword poses and things like that definitely going to be limited. We get the usual array of alternate hands. Nothing really new there. We do get an alternate forearm, which I'm guessing is meant to replace Donatello's wrist forearm. So that's pretty cool. I like that they included that. You get a pizza box made out of cardboard. It opens and closes. It also holds the slices, half-eaten slices of pizza that you get. One of the pieces has a hole in it for the side. That's pretty cool. You get a TGRI canister with the ooze in it and one without. That's nice. You get the fire extinguisher. And then, of course, you get their signature weapons, the bow, the swords, the sais, the nunchucks. You also get some sausage nunchucks. And you get the foam baton. Those things are from the first scene, or one of the earlier scenes in the movie. And so that's a pretty good spread of accessories. I don't think there's anything else that I can really think of that you need that isn't already included in the accessory set. And the reason they have to do that is because they can't just make this set infinitely large. You know, they have to cap it somewhere to make it a reasonable cost in production and everything. So I get that. And you do get the accessory set, which I'll be reviewing. So I think that's a good spread. That's all you really need for the core figures. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good spread of accessories. I think more hands and then wrists with the proper hinges would be great. But this is pretty good. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. The head, I don't know if it's a double or a single, but they do lean to the side really well. Of course, they rotate. They look down almost all the way, and looking up, it's a little bit more limited, but they can look up a little bit. So you should be able to pose them just fine. No real problem there. Shoulders, standard swivel hinge. Not the best range in the world, but it's almost horizontal, so I'll take it. You get your full rotation there. No bicep swivel up here. Your swivel is going to come out of the elbow joint, which is a double joint. It swivels at the top and the bottom. I still wish we had a regular bicep swivel on these guys, but you can rotate the arm there and use the joints. I mean, it's functional, and because of the elbow pads, it hides the ugliness just fine, but I do wish we had standard bicep swivel. And the pad is connected. You can see the little tab in there holding it in place. I think a floating pad might have been better, but this works just fine. And of course, like I said, the wrists have a swivel and they all have a hinge, but they do not have the vertical hinge, which is very disappointing. There's at least a single ball peg in there connecting the upper body to the lower body, but you're not really going to be able to use it. I mean, the shell doesn't move with the body, so you're not going to be able to do anything with the body. That's just the way it is. For the hips, we have ball pegs, traditional old school ball pegs, and one of them, I don't remember which one it is, it felt a little bit loose, but most of them are nice and tight. A little bit of squeak, but nothing too bad. But the problem I have is the front shell. It's not super soft, and it is connected rather securely to the rest of the body, so it's not really flexing out of the way, so I'm not going to force that at all. Very limited range going forward. Obviously not much range going back. Out to the side, not full on splits, but that's going to be plenty. But going forward is severely limited unless you really want to risk grinding paint, and I don't want to do that. There is a thigh swivel that works just fine, no problems there. Double jointed knee, the top joint is just like the elbow, the bottom joint is your standard hinge. So that's that one, and then you also can use this one, but it doesn't give you that much range, so it's a little bit limited. And then the knee pad is connected again, so it's good enough, but since this doesn't work that well up here, you're not going to need to do too much with this. So yeah, not the best range overall, which isn't really surprising considering the aesthetic. And then the ankles, we'll use this one. The ankles go basically all the way back and all the way forward. That's as good as you could ask for ever. The ankle rocker is a little bit steep, but not bad, so I'll take it. So yeah, we do have some limitations, but the articulation is not bad by any means, and it's definitely going to be good enough. I mean, these were real people in giant rubber suits, so recreating the scenes should be good enough, other than the hips. The hips are really limited. I don't care for that. I think they could have fudged the shell a little bit or made it soft or something. It just doesn't afford enough range, if you ask me. And I am a fan of being able to put figures in poses that they weren't in the source material. So not being able to do that is a little bit of a bummer, but it is still functional enough. So I'll give the articulation a 7. It's nothing bad, it's just not impressive at all. So time for the final verdict on this 4-pack. The last 4-pack, I'm pretty sure won figure of the year that year. Will this set? Maybe. I don't know. They're definitely a contender. They're wonderful, wonderful figures. The aesthetic, one of the best sets of figures that comes out. Every time they make a new movie Ninja Turtle figure, it's top. It's top tier every time, and this 4-pack is no different. It's really, really good. So I'm going to give it a final rating overall of 9.5 out of 10. There is some room for improvement from NECA on these sets. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but practically speaking, I can't imagine anybody buying this and not being really satisfied. They're wonderful figures, and I'm very happy to own them, and I'm very happy to review them. And I hope you guys can track them down if you don't already have them. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.